Omni-Edition Sports presents from Garden City High School in Garden City, Michigan, Cougar Wrestling. Tonight, the Garden City Cougars take on the Robichaud Bulldogs. Hi, everybody. This is Dan York along with Phil Freeman as we get ready to bring you our first Garden City High School sporting event of the calendar year 2013, and probably the first time we've done wrestling in 15 years. And Phil, as a longtime coach here at Garden City High School, you've had an opportunity to see this program since you were a part of it in the 70s at Garden City East High School. Garden City has always had kind of a rich wrestling tradition.
It's been a great tradition, going back to the days of Garden City High School, and then when Garden City West opened, Garden City West and East both had strong traditions. We actually have a couple of alumni in the stands right now from the class of 1964. It's Al and Jim up there. I got to meet them at the novice tournament. But nice thing about the tradition, Dan, is that it's been carrying on. My coach, when I was in high school, was a coach who had been around since the early 60s. I wrestled in the 70s, coached through the 80s and part of the 90s, and the coaches here today are actually former athletes that wrestled for me. So it's a great tradition here at Garden City.
Don Geese, the head coach of Garden City in his third year. Some things to explain. First of all, this is a quad meet, which means there are 4 teams here right now. 2 of them wrestle at a time. Garden City will be wrestling Robichaud first, and then Garden City, I believe, wrestles Etzler-Fordson in the second one. We're doing the first one. What's going on right now, as you see some of the wrestlers having their arms raised, is that Robichaud's program is pretty thin right now. They have only 6 wrestlers guaranteed to wrestle in this duel.
Right, they're struggling a little bit with the program right now, although they do have some good quality wrestlers on their team. They're struggling with numbers right now, and today they've only brought 8 wrestlers, and 6 of them will be wrestling varsity today.
And possibly we'll have some more wrestling, some exhibition towards the end of this. One of the things about wrestling is it's an individual sport and a team sport at the same time. So even though Robichaud doesn't have a chance of winning this meet because they just don't have the numbers of the forfeits, still the kids can get something out of it.
Right, each one of the individual wrestlers could win on their own. It works towards their individual records, and each of the wrestlers have an opportunity to get their records to the point where they get seeded well and have an opportunity to go beyond districts to regionals and possibly state.
Gibby, what are you guys doing to the irises? You're like turning them down to where they're not usable. All right, so again, I think we're going to wrestle beginning at 1:35 is the understanding.
Yeah, it looks like we have Kwan Lawrence from Robichaud wrestling against Garden City's 135-pounder Nick Kasparic.
Now, Garden City also struggling in the lower weight classes as they have a lot of underclassmen in the lower weight classes. So Garden City does much better in the higher weight classes as you see our wrestlers come out, pick up their bands to strap on.
Yeah, they use those bands, Dan, so the referee can designate which one is red on the scoreboard and which one is green on the scoreboard. So that's for scoring purposes for the referee.
All right, so we're underway, and a 2-minute rounds and 3 2-minute rounds. So Garden City actually had 30-0 before we wrestle our first second.
Yeah, they over the first 5 matches, they got 6 points for each one of the voids.
So again, this is 135 Nick Kasparic. He is a senior, his third year on this team, and this is Kwan Lawrence, one of the captains and a 2-time regional qualifier wrestling for Robichaud.
It takes some talent to get through the districts to the regionals, especially doing it twice. There's a nice shot there to a single leg. And that's 2 points for a takedown. So Robichaud's leading this match now 2-0. Good work.
Even if it's not a pin, obviously there's got to be a winner if there's no pin, and the way they do that is through the point system.
That's correct. And as we go through this, we'll talk about like a takedown, for example, was 2 points. There, Garden City came from a controlled position to a neutral position, so earned 1 point for an escape. And now they're back working towards their takedowns.
So the scoreboard that you see on your screen, that is the match score, if you will. The meet score itself is 30-0.
And there's another takedown by Kwan Lawrence of Robichaud. And he's got our Garden City kid in a precarious position and ended up with the pin.
So Robichaud wins the first match that they actually have bodies for, and that's Kwan Lawrence, who wins that at 135.
Very nice move that he used there for the pin, right from the takedown, put him to his back and controlled him. It was a tough position for Kasparek to get out of. He was very aggressive out there, Garden City's Kasparek, but I think he ran into a real tough two-time regional qualifier in Lawrence from Robichaud.
So 30-6, Garden City leads now. Now at 140, we anticipate this is Travis Valentine for Robichaud, and for Garden City, one of their captains, Brian Spihar, who comes in with a very impressive 17-7.
And once again, you know, talking about the points or a pin, at the team level then, if you win by points, you get 3 points for your team. If you pin, you get 6 points for your team. There are opportunities to earn more points if you have a major victory by 8 points or more, or actually a technical fall, which is winning by 15 points or more. We'll talk about that if that comes up.
And as the wrestlers get heavier, the motion and the activity gets a little slower.
Yeah, you know, as a former lightweight myself, yeah, those bigger guys were always a little bit slower, but they certainly are a whole lot tougher.
Yeah, and what we haven't seen are those jackrabbit wrestlers, the guys that wrestle at 103 and 112 that are just all over the place.
Right, they have a tendency to be a little bit quicker. There's a takedown by Spihar. It's 2 points here, and he's controlling from the top. In the old days, way back when, we used to have riding time, and there used to actually be a clock, and whoever had the longer riding time during the match would be awarded another point. Spihar gave up an escape there. I don't think that it was totally unintentional, and he came back and got the takedown right away, so now he is up 4-1.
Brian is hoping to become a police officer after he concludes his high school career, hoping to go to the police academy at Schoolcraft College.
There's a good armbar and a half, rolling his opponent to his back. Very well done. Out in the perpendicular position, as I taught his coach, and I hope he passed that down the line, but it was a very good pinning combination by Spihar, and he was able to work that for the fall.
And if you hear other whistles and other thumps going on, that means you can hear the Fordson Etzel Ford duel that's going on the mat right next to this one.
If you see in the corner there, there's Danny Horvath, the assistant coach, also a wrestler from the 80s for Garden City, and good little talent himself, who won several matches for us and helped us to win a league championship.
So now at 152, it's scheduled to be Wilbur Mason for Robichaud. He's the one of the captains of Robichaud, and Jordan Ruggeber, a sophomore for Garden City. And Jordan looking for his first win so far this season. I don't know what just happened there.
Sure, oh, here he comes.
There he is.
There he goes. Probably forgot his headgear. Had to go around and get his headgear. One of the things that drove us coaches nuts way back when. Looking forward to a good match here.
Garden City is 4-7 overall. Again, it's deceiving in wrestling because it's as much about the individual as it is the team. 0-3 in the conference in the Western Wayne Athletic Conference Red. But just like in track, there are individual districts as well as team districts. So you can have a wrestler go all the way to the state championship without having a successful team.
That's correct. And a quick takedown by Wilbur of Robichaud, and a quick escape then by Garden City. Good single leg, control of the arm. He's got to work his way behind before the points are awarded. The referee is not awarded points for a takedown. You have to be in control. You have to be behind and be in control of your opponent, and there the referee's determined that he was.
We haven't had a bout get out of the first round yet.
No, there's I think he's checking, the referee's checking here. He wanted to make sure he's got the score correct there. and it looks like he did. The extra 2 points you saw scored in there was a couple of takedowns, but there was also, after those quick takedowns, there was a couple of near fall points, it appears, and then another escape.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. Near fall, almost a pin.
Almost a pin.
Takedown, take the guy down to the mat, and escape from a takedown, right?
That's correct. And you know what? There can be either a 2-point or 3-point near fall, depending on whether or not you hold them down for a 5 count on their back in a near pinned position. That would be a 3-point near fall, and anything short of that is a 2-point near fall.
Now, we talked about that tradition that Garden City has for wrestling. As you see the escape for Ruggeber.
Mason's controlling the match here. He's letting him up and taking him down. Jordan's fighting hard. There's no doubt about it. I think a little more experience will help him out, but any time on the mat's good experience.
Garden City hosts 2 big tournaments, a novice tournament and a Christmas tournament. As time runs out in the first round. And that novice tournament that started at the Christmas tournament started at East. The novice tournament started at West. I think the Christmas tournament is on its 48th annual. Rob Phillips figured out, and the novice is on its 47th because one of them got snowed out.
Yeah, it just happened to be my novice year. You know,
did it really?
If you grow up in wrestling in Garden City, the novice tournament, it's like the state championship. There are usually, we've had as many as 45 teams at the tournament, as over 400 wrestlers there at one time. You've been there, you've announced those, you know what those are like. And when you grow up here, it's really, it's a real big deal. And it snowed out one year, and it happened to be my novice year, so I never got a chance to wrestle in it.
You should use the OETV bug when you don't have the scoreboard on.
There's another takedown. It's up 19-3 right now, and so the match was stopped because it was a 15-point difference between the score. That's called a technical fall.
Okay.
It's something that was put in place. I guess the best way to put that is it's kind of a mercy rule, and that will score 5 points for the team.
So it's 42-12. 5 points for the teams, or 42-11.
Yeah, they haven't put up the team points yet.
42-11. And our next one scheduled to go at 160. Nope. Is that right?
Yes, 160.
160 is Ronald Parker. And for Garden City, Matt Wisniewski, who's one of the better wrestlers on this team and the captain of this Garden City wrestling team.
It's a very nice record at 22-6. Nice quick shot to a low single. Quick control to an arm bar. I got to tell you, Dan, I've always loved the basics. There's a lot of kids that want to use a lot of fancy moves here, but the singles and double legs for takedowns, the arm bars, half Nelsons, those are the things that are the bread and butter as you get to the tougher and tougher competition. And Coach Geese and Coach Horvath are obviously working very hard with their team on that because they're showing it out here as well.
And Lon Hillert, one of the teachers here at Garden City High School, involved also.
Right,
he's been this wrestling team.
He's been involved for a long time here too, and help again to carry on that tradition. Good move towards his back here. Good way to bury that half. So Wisniewski's got him in a tough position here. He's got a lot of time on the clock. This is going to be a tough position. Reversing his half. Nice work, nice pin, and a good show of sportsmanship there as he helps his opponent up and gets ready to get his hand raised.
And this is where Garden City excels, is in these upper weight classes. So Garden City now with a 48-11 lead. And it's Derek Jones now for Robichaud, one of their captains, and a 2-time regional qualifier versus Toriano Nichols of Garden City, who's 13-10 and a junior on his Cougar wrestling team.
2-time regional qualifier for Robichaud, Derek Jones. It's again, that takes some work to get to regionals, and it demonstrates a good work ethic and some skill, but also a 13-10 record. That's a good start for a 215-pounder in his second year of wrestling. That Nichols is doing a good job too.
And Garden City is going to have a couple of voids here. Andrew Wasson and Adam Druce will get their arms raised without an opponent.
And it's nice to get the team points, but any wrestler wants to get out there and mix it up. That's why they get on the wrestling team, and sometimes it's disappointing. Hopefully they'll get some matches in the other duels.
And we kind of, by the luck of the draw, we decided weeks ago that we would do the first match here tonight. And as it turned out, Robichaud came in pretty thin. So we apologize that a lot of the kids on the Garden City wrestling team didn't get their day in the sun today on TV because of just unfortunate circumstances.
Well, typically in a double duel or quad meet, as they call these, you try to get your league match first, and Robichaud is in our league, and so they wanted to make sure that they got that match first. You want to be freshest against the opponents that are going to count towards your league record.
And when we tried to decide what to televise, that made more sense, too, to televise the league match. So
right, that's correct.
Kind of backfired on us in that regard.
Yeah.
So this is Jones for Robichaud and Nichols for Garden City.
It'll be interesting here for me to watch. I have not seen Nichols wrestle yet this year. Oh, nice ankle pick. Beautiful ankle pick there. I like the big guys. His coach was a 198 pounder for me and was a very good wrestler. Started his senior year off in 17 pins in his first 17 matches, and I want to see if he's passed some of that on to some of his bigger guys here. Referee just called an illegal move there after getting the takedown. Nichols ended up putting in a full Nelson. He got a nice half buried in there, but came across the other way with another half, which is a penalty when you get to the full Nelson. There's an escape for Jones from Robichaud to make it a 2-2 match.
Now this type of wrestling would be categorized as collegiate or Greco-Roman, right?
No, just collegiate folk style. Sometimes people call it folk style, but this is the same as they use in the collegiate. Greco-Roman is more of one of the Olympic styles where all of the contact and action is above the waist.
Oh, okay.
So, and then there's freestyle wrestling as well, which is the other Olympic style, and that is more wrestling on your feet. You won't see the riding time. If you get a guy taken down in freestyle, then you don't get him to his back quickly. The ref will bring you back up to a neutral position.
Okay.
So there's some good action going on here. This is a good match. They're tying up, keeping each other occupied, trying to set up a takedown here. I'd like to see Nichols go after that ankle pick again. That was just very well done. Well set up. Robichaud wrestler is keeping his weight on his heels a bit here.
Nichols, this
there
is his
you go.
second year as a wrestler.
Oh, got down in the ankle but lost the head. Keeping that leg, though. Keeping on the single leg. Let's see if he can work on it. There's only 3 seconds left. Oh, giving up a takedown with just a couple seconds left. That's a tough one. That'll drive a coach nuts there, but it's a 4-2 match in favor of Jones from Robichaud.
Now, lots of tournaments. Obviously, the best way to maximize the amount of wrestling that you can do throughout the season is tournaments. And every weekend almost there's a big tournament that you can go to.
That's right. We used to go a dual meet and a tournament every week, but now even to get more wrestling, and you'll see things like this where there's a quad meet going on and you wrestle more than once in a night. Beautiful move there by Garden City. He got to stay perpendicular, though, to take advantage of that, and he got caught under a big guy, which is really tough. Let's see if he can fight his way
close
out.
To being pinned.
Oh, what a nice move to come out from the bottom and get that reversal and put him towards his back, but you got to get perpendicular so you don't get rolled through. This is a tough time. He's got a minute and a half fight on him here, and he's put himself in a tough position there, and it's unfortunate because it was a really good match for him to get started. No shame in losing to a 2-time regional qualifier, though.
So 60-17, Garden City on top. Again, we knew before this started that Robichaud was going to have a mathematical impossibility to win. So our final scheduled match, and again, we may have an exhibition or two that they're able to add, is to have, our next one rather is heavyweight. And 285 is is that the top weight on heavyweight?
Yes, that's a top you can be. It's unfortunate for Garden City way back when. We've had a couple of wrestlers up in the 325s and actually had old Eddie Miller that was a 365-pound heavyweight. Oh, what a great double leg takedown, but he did not get control. Good work not to lose control there. Getting towards a headlock. Oh, good move. Got a headlock in, but you got to have an arm in that headlock for safety reasons. If you don't have an arm in that headlock and you just got both hands locked around the head, that's a penalty. So even though he got the takedown for the headlock, a penalty was called, and it's a 2-1 match right now. But now I think it was 1984, 1985, they went from what was the unlimited class to the 285, and it's I guess it's a good thing. I always like the big guys. We've always had good heavyweights in Garden City. I guess that's been a great. Kevin Richardson, second in the state, graduate in 1983, did an outstanding job. No change there. Referee Phil Shannon, former Annapolis wrestler, out there said that the action carried itself out of bounds, so there was no reversal there. Oh, good half Nelson there. Oh, good move. Good move. And again, you've got a minute left here. It's going to take a lot of fight to get out of here. Notice if he stays perpendicular, which is where he needs to be, he can hold that. And did not stay as perpendicular as he could have been. Might have wanted to reverse that half, but he did get the near fall points. And he's got to work here to try to regain control or risk giving up a reversal or an escape here.
So Emmanuel Emu up 5-1 right now.
And there is the point escape, but he is locked on a bear hug. We'll see how it comes here. Oh, that's why you got to love heavyweights. Good old-fashioned bear hug from a heavyweight. It doesn't get any better than that. 30 seconds left, and there he goes. He reverses his half, and there's the pin for Garden City. Outstanding job, Emmanuel. There's some good work there. Now that's why, you talk about the little guys, and as exciting as those matches can be, this stuff is just as exciting. And you get a bear hug from a big guy who can take a guy down to the mat and finish it with a pin.
All right, we're going to hold it here for a moment, because that is the end of the actual meet that Garden City has won 66-17. They talked about the possibility of having some exhibitions, and we may do that.
Yeah, it was a quick match, few matches, and a lot of pins going on, so that was a very quick match.
Move Brett down by us to the left side. There's no point in having him right next to the other guy standing in the slash.
So we will have to just kind of hold it here and play it by ear. Hopefully they'll come over and help us out and give us some insight. As they're doing this, Garden City, had hoped to wrestle every weight class, but it became evident as we got a little closer that Robichaud wasn't going to be able to field the team. A couple of kids sick.
And that's disappointing. You get ready to wrestle. You work out all week. You make weight, and that makes it pretty difficult. So to come to a match then after making weight and then wondering whether or not you're going to wrestle. So it's frustrating a bit, but it's nice to get the win for the team.
And it looks like we're going to have another heavyweight bout. The Robichaud coach swiped my vision impaired lineup with the 4-inch tall letters, so. Taking a look at the Robichaud roster. So for Garden City, this is either Jalen Jackson or Emilio Asensio.
Let's see if we can find that out. If we're going to get them on TV, we might as well get the name.
Yeah,
right
that might
here.
be nice to know. All right, so it's Jackson for Garden City. That much we've got. And Alex James for Robichaud. And again, this is actually an exhibition, but Robichaud has more kids at the heavier weights, and Garden City with a few kids at the heavier weights too.
Sure, and this is, again, a good action going on here with the heavyweights. Not that quick, low action and those shots you might see from some of the younger, or some of the lighter guys. But this is a control battle, and see some good aggressiveness coming out of here, out of Jalen. But sometimes, even with your aggressiveness, you still get taken down. But that's okay. I like the aggressiveness.
Gibby, we just went dead out here. We can't hear ourselves. Tell me if you can hear us.
All right, now, as you're on the bottom here, you want to get out, and he's doing it. Oh, what a nice little step over. Good move, showing some good agility for a big guy. And
Yeah, what happened?
all right, we got an escape there. It came from a controlled position to a neutral position for an escape, and now again, vying for position, trying to set something up. Looks like he's setting up, trying a headlock there, but let it slip through, leading to him getting taken down here. Now he's got to work himself back up.
We've got to do 4 and 3 at least. Let's do it between rounds of this bout. Between rounds.
So 20 seconds remaining in the first round. Again, the meet score not affected by this. Garden City wins that 66-17, their first win in the Western Wayne Athletic Conference this year.
There we go. There's our escape. You know, I tell you, he's down 4-2 right now, but I like the action. Jalen has really been aggressive in this match, and you know, as a coach, if a kid's aggressive and he gives up a takedown, you can live with that because you want your kids to be aggressive. Of course, you want them to be aggressive and get the takedown, but I'll take that aggressiveness, and Jalen has shown that here today.
So we make it to the second round, one of the few times we've made it to the second round today.
Right. Well, we'll start finding out what kind of shape these guys are in, too. That's one of the things that you start getting to that second and third period, and you know, you can get gassed if you're not in shape. There's a 1-point penalty against the Robichaud wrestler for locked hands. When you're in a controlling position, unless you're in a pinning combination, you cannot lock your hands. So that makes it a 4-3 match right now. And what will cause that to happen a lot of times, if you're aggressive on the bottom, keep working your way up and working your way to either an escape or a reversal, your opponent sometimes will resort to locking hands to try to keep control, and that'll lead to the penalty.
So our official helping out Jalen Jackson. This is a junior in his first year as a wrestler.
He's doing a great job for a first-year wrestler. He's got his basics down real well. Again, that aggressiveness, which I really like, coming out from the bottom like that. And getting close to an escape, but still not fully escaped. There it is. He's got an escape. Got to love that. Again, he worked very hard from the bottom. Now he's got to get that takedown. He's given up a couple of takedowns here. That'll come with some experience as he gets more mat time. But, again, that aggressiveness that I've seen is really, to me, exciting as a coach, former coach.
And wrestling, I mean, you want to do your weight training. You've got to do your running. You've got to be physically fit. But the way to become a better wrestler is to wrestle, 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 wrestle.
There is no substitute for getting mat time. And that, you know, for the guys that really want to make it to the next level, that want to go beyond districts to regionals and eventually state, or even compete beyond that at the college level, it takes a lot of mat time, and a lot of times that takes place over the summer, either through camps or clubs as well. And you can see the difference between the guys that do that and the guys that just use the season to progress themselves. And starting to slow down a little bit. Slowing down a little bit as the match goes on. About 30 seconds left in the second period here. Don't want to lose that aggressiveness. Once you start slowing down a little bit, you give your opponents windows of opportunity to get those takedowns.
Tied at 4 points apiece.
He's got a good lock there if he can keep his feet. There you go. Good control there, good control. Okay, and he got the 2 points for the near fall. It was a shorter count, so it's only 2 points for that near fall. Quick jump to an 8-4 lead.
So we'll head to the third period. Up 8-4. Dan York along with Phil Freeman here on Omnidition Sports. First time we've had wrestling in a long time here on GCTV.
I think we did the finals of the Christmas tournament about 15 years ago, is probably right.
We did that. That might not have been the last one, but we did that.
Good aggressive work from the bottom position. Good wrist control. Got to be careful. It looks like he's about to expose his back, but good hip action. Again, I'm really impressed with his aggressiveness, the work that he's done from the bottom. Of course, he wrestles every day in practice with another really good heavyweight, so he's got an opportunity to have some of his toughest matches in the practice room rather than out here on the mat.
So it's Jalen Jackson for Garden City and James Alexander for Robichaud. This is a Western Wayne Athletic Conference Red Division match.
Don't want to get your arms caught up after all that hard work. Oh, what a tough loss after getting a nice lead. Still a good match for a couple of young guys who are young into wrestling. Good things happen to those people who continue to be aggressive. Just a little mistake there. Let his arms get behind him, reach back a little bit, and got caught on his back. And that happens at heavyweight sometimes.
All right, we want to thank our friends at KFC here in Garden City. Dan and Paul Bogowski, Garden City residents who help provide food services for Omnidition Sports and GCTV. They did so tonight, so we want to thank them. Located at the corner of Ford and Harrison, and that is going to wrap it up from Garden City High School. So Garden City comes away with a 66-17 win over Robichaud in the first of two duels that Garden City will wrestle here today. Garden City gets their first win in the conference. And in the matches that Garden City did wrestle, they looked pretty good.
I think they did a great job. The best thing I like about what I saw was the aggressiveness of the wrestlers. I love the fact that they're still teaching the basics. There was some good single legs, double legs in there, the arm bars and halves, the basic things that I said, Dan, that work out in matches no matter what level you're working. You know, there's a lot of kids that want to get out there that want to try throwing all the fancy moves and being, the crowd-pleasing moves sometimes, and those are great to see. But it's the basics that work, and it looks like the coaches are teaching that well, and that they're having some success because of that.
All right, well, that is going to wrap it up from Garden City High School. We want to thank all of our volunteers here at Omnidition Sports and GCTV who made this happen here today, and Garden City comes away with a 66-17 win over Robichaud. So for our director, Christian Gibbons, and for Phil Freeman, this is Dan York saying so long from Garden City High School. Again, Garden City with the 66-17 win over Dearborn Heights Robichaud. Thanks for watching, and good night, everybody.